Alrighty. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I was sent this video by one of my friends. They wanted me to react to it and do a criticism sucks. And it's a video done from Alex Meyers on Obsession. And I'm pretty sure you've probably seen other people cover it, other film YouTubers cover it and give their critiques to the video. I only seen Obsession once. I do like the movie. I just want to preface and say, and I'm going to stop on points where I feel it's relevant to chime in and give my opinion. But let's give this guy the benefit of the doubt and let's see what he has to say about the film itself.
Warning, this video is an attempt at a good faith, nuanced look at the fictional movie Obsession and the characters therein, which will probably upset some of you for some reason. You know, I don't think I've seen the internet freak out about a movie like they have with Obsession. At least not in a long time. Maybe K-pop Demon Hunters was the last time where like everywhere you looked, everyone had an opinion about it. I guess you could say everyone's kinda obsessed. So I knew I had to make a video about it, but like they kept pushing back the VOD release date, you know, because y'all kept on watching it. $750,000 budget and it made $300 million. One of the biggest indie film success stories of all time. Now, I don't make a lot of videos about horror stuff, but I mean, a semi-rom-com about a nerdy loser guy who gets the girl at the end. Well, this sounds like a nice, wholesome movie. But okay, let's check it out. So come along.
Oh. Already, I think the seeds are being planted of him misinterpreting the movie. Unless that was a joke. I'm just thinking, like, that one was a little bit off to me. That was a little bit weird, but I'm gonna let him continue.
Kids, let's take a walk.
I feel like I'm coming apart. I think about you all the time, Nikki. And I try not to. You're in every song I listen to.
Marching along as the song fills the air. Gummy bear.
So this is our main character, Bear. Bear is 25, according to the screenplay, and he's never outgrown his awkward high school loser persona, which means he's gonna have a great career one day as an online content creator. Hi there, welcome to Twitch. Are you mentally stuck at 15? Perfect, we're gonna put you on the front page.
If you want.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm sorry I
No.
made you do that.
No, it's okay. You're okay. It's fun break.
Just pretend like.
You're good.
Oh my god, dude, that was so embarrassing.
I don't know, man, you got that strawberry milkshake sitting right there, so something tells me you're the kind of guy who's internalized a few too many rom-coms written by equally pathetic losers as yourself. I mean, trust me, ain't my first rodeo. So this is
I just have a feeling that he's trying to. That it's gonna be like he projects himself through Bear. Like he's liking the fact that he drinks strawberry fucking milkshakes. He's thinking that it's gonna be a romantic comedy. There's these implied scenes where it seems like he may feel bad for him. I just feel like that's the first yellow flag that's coming up with this criticism, and a ton of it really isn't any defense or criticism currently at all. It's just like a projection of himself through Bear, which I find to be weird, and a bunch of jokes that are very, very miss in my personal opinion.
Bear's friend, Ian. I guess they're not really like friends, but they like work together. But anyway, Ian is currently trying to help Bear practice how to ask out a girl named Nikki, the girl of his dreams.
Have you ever actually like flirted with Nikki? Be playfully mean with her.
Be mean to her.
Playfully mean, yeah, but bring up freaky Nikki.
And that will, like, take her breath away.
Just say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Okay, so real talk, if you have to try this hard to have this kind of like game plan on how to ask a girl out, then like, it's already gonna fail, okay? If it's this hard, you've already lost. I mean, as douchey as Ian is, like, he's right when he says, you know, have you ever even flirted with Nikki, like, at all? Because it's really weird to come out of nowhere and be like, dearest fair maiden, I know we've only exchanged mere pleasantries these past few years, but I must inform you that I wish to begin a courtship. Bro, I just came over here to fart, okay? Anyway, so that night, Bear goes.
I kind of agree there. It's like, you know, did you really man up and take any initiative whatsoever? But then again, it is the beginning of the film, so I'm wondering, is he gonna bring up the context of how Ian kind of was nailing Nikki a little bit behind his back, and maybe he had these ideas and virtues in his head. Oh, maybe Bear is never gonna get her because I just know he's a pussy. We might be friends, but I know he's a pussy. He's not gonna make the first attempt at all, right? And then when he snaps the one wish willow, things start to become weird. Things start to become, you know, everyone's wondering what the fuck is going on. Everything's different now. Her behavior is different. She's constantly obsessed with him, and then that's when all the shit starts to hit the fan, where she can't live without him or function without him technically, and it starts to get worse and worse.
Goes home and finds his cat dead. Apparently it got into his grandma's medicine or whatever.
No, 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 no. Oh, no, no. No, no. How did you get into these?
Little backstory. So Bear's living in his grandma's house, who recently passed away. So, you know, it's full of all kinds of grandma stuff, like insanely racist paperweights. As you might imagine, Bear's got a lot
What the fuck? What was that? What kind of joke was that? Oh man, let's continue.
on his mind. His cat died. He has no idea how to ask out Nikki. He's walking around with this haircut like my dude can't catch a break. So it's Wednesday night, which means trivia night, because Bear and his friends are super cool. The team is Bear, Ian, Nikki, and their other friend Sarah, and they all work together at this like music shop place, which seems to have a lot of employees for a random store on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. So he's feeling pretty down, as you could imagine, but Nikki, of all people, calls him up to ask if he's gonna hang out with the friend group that night.
I don't think I can tonight. I'm just catching up on some stuff.
Yeah, so I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
Really?
Shit! God damn it!
Are you okay?
No, I just dropped my crystal necklace down the drain.
Oh, no, crystal necklace. Bear, get out while you still can. But then again, Nikki is a hot Latina, so one can only remain strong for so long. Now, because Nikki dropped her necklace, Bear gets this idea to get her another one. You know, be the hero, get his foot in the door, and then have no idea what to do afterwards, like me 80% of the time. I love how it says amaze your friends. Hey guys, check this out. Awesome, do it again.
Yeah, well, they've been pretty popular since we put them out. You know, everybody wants a wish. Some people don't open them, but the people who do, you know, come back and complain.
Or it does work and it like ruins their lives.
Or they die or wish they were dead.
Ah yes, the millennial special. Rather experienced myself. Also, you know, it's kind of funny that Bear is better at flirting with this girl here than he is with the girl he actually likes, which is such a real thing, by the way. Why does that happen?
I don't think that was flirting. I just think that that scene had some self-irony injected into it, because it seems to be like, to me at least, from what the movie tried to convey, it seems to me like the shopkeepers kind of are in on it. They kind of know what some of the stuff the Wish does to people, right? Because, I mean, there was the guy that was in the shop a little bit later when Bear's trying to talk to him and say, yo, these things like corrupt people or whatever. He's like, yo, man, is there any way to reverse it? And then the guy's like, I already made my wish, so, you know, tough luck, tough shit, right? It just seems to be like he has no awareness to what's going on, but maybe she already does. And he's just getting himself into a situation that's going to completely bite him in the ass later on. I didn't get the flirting of him flirting with her in that scene versus either Nikki or Sarah. And the main thing about Bear is that he's just this socially awkward guy that doesn't know how to coordinate the rest of the situation and simply say, oh, something's going on. No, he just wants love to an insane degree, and he's willing to go with this. This is why he tells someone later in the movie, hey, is there a way to make her love me, but scale back her erratic behavior? He doesn't give a fuck. He just wants her for himself, as opposed to thinking about all the crazy shit Nikki is doing and her feelings and what's going on, and maybe he did something wrong in the equation. It's like he didn't take responsibility for himself after a while and just wanted to fix it for himself because he's self-serving.
Anyway, so he buys the One Wish Willow to give to Nikki later that night at trivia.
Anything else?
I'll get a pina colada.
Pina colada?
Don't make fun of my drink. What?
I like a man who's in touch with his feminine.
Hey, whoa, didn't ask your opinion, Nikki. So here we get a look at who Nikki is. And she seems like she's kind of one of those girls who's like those like ball buster types, you know? She's always like, ha, bitch can't handle all this. I've never met a guy who can keep up with me. And then they just...
I didn't get that. indication from Nikki at all. It just seems like they were having a couple of drinks and they were having a conversation, and she was just making a little bit of fun of him. That's it. I don't think she came off as a character that constantly was busting his balls. You know, she seemed to be a caring, friendly individual, and then it came to this complicated feeling of, oh, do you like me? That was conveyed with the car scene where she came back and asked Bear that question, and then after that, you know, Bear didn't admit it. Then he snapped the willow. Then she came back, and that's where the shit hits the fan once again, because it's the initiation of the movie, to where the character does the action. He snaps the monkey paw and is too little, too late. But I don't think that she just is a character human, Nikki, at least, a character that constantly just breaks balls all the time. No. I think it's a little mixture of that in this scene, and you know, people drink, they get a little loosey goosey. So I think that was the purpose of her saying that. You know, just fucking with him.
Lay there like SpongeBob. Also, again, somewhat ironic, but earlier Bear was like, you want me to be mean to her? Why would I do that? But then she's literally doing the same thing to him right now, and it's clearly working, so...
I think Ian said that so he could take a little bit more initiative. You know, be stern with her, as opposed to being aloof or being a person where you're not taking a stance, you're just being all like fucking playful and shit. You're not manning up to the plate and seeing what her temperature is by being a little bit more stern but a little bit more playful with her. You know, just trying to get out emotions. Maybe she's into the more rougher masculine stuff, as opposed to, oh, I just like pina coladas and I'm not going to express my feelings, you know. Some women, they do not like very, very passive men. And I think that was the scene that was being initiated, that they were trying to convey this message. Ian was trying to convey this, where, Barry, you're being way too passive with Nikki. You gotta take the prize. And that's what I think the interpretation of that scene was.
Interesting. Okay, so trivia's about to start, and Bear's left standing there with Sarah, the other girl they work with that I mentioned, you know.
But I also don't think she's taking initiative that she wants him then and there as well. I didn't get that indication either.
And he tells her that his cat died earlier that night.
What?
Film trivia.
Sandy died.
Okay, this first one's a two-parter.
What?
And you have to answer both. Here we go.
Really?
This animated film features a blue genie.
Here, I'm so sorry.
Wait, hold on, back up. So the trivia topic was early film trivia, and the question was, this film has a blue genie that grants wishes. Ah, yes, the ancient year of 1992. But more importantly, so here we get a look into the dynamics of the whole friend group, okay? So Ian is kind of like a douche, right? Nikki seems like one of those girls who's one of the guys, you know? And Bear has a huge crush on Nikki, even though Sarah over here is clearly into Bear on some level, and he just, like, doesn't notice, doesn't care. So Bear's choices are Crystal Mommy or Septum Girl. So like, this dude never stood a chance. Like, you might as well put that chastity belt in your Amazon cart right now, my dude. Anyway, so trivia.
I think the initial joke was cringy, but I kind of agree on that part. Like, it seems to be that sort of dynamic. Ian's the douchey person with some deception in his back pocket, and that deception is putting his whole cock into Nikki and not telling Bear, you know, about the chances there, and not being honest with him as a friend that he was nailing her the whole time, that they were on an off and on again relationship. And it makes me wonder if Bear did get the initiative to ask Nikki out, Ian would probably still get jealous. And then there's Sarah, Septum Mommy, which, yes, it is very clear that she likes him, and then it's Nikki who wants to sort of fraternize with the boys. So I think that analysis was fair. I think that was fine.
Night's over and it's time to go home. Nikki needs a ride, and so of course Bear's like,
long day. I don't want to go to the next fucking bar with you guys.
My car's headed to Greedos.
We could drop her off on the way.
I can take you home.
Okay.
Ian, get your girl home safe.
Ew, don't say it like that. See you later, Bear. All right, Bear.
Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. So Bear takes Nikki home, and of course on the way they have some kind of heart-to-heart talk, you know, talk about life, man. It's all very Life is Strange, you know what I'm saying? Come on, Max, let's get out of this town. I hate my dad.
Just not happy there.
I mean, it's just a job, Nikki.
Yeah, well, I want to write.
Oh, a crystal mommy and a writer. Well, something tells me this movie would have gone the same way for Bear, whether he made the wish or not.
No, it's not a romantic.
I disagree. I don't think it would have gone the same way. And the way you know this is the fact that Nikki's behavior is like right front and center. How erratic she acts. How she literally turns into a brutal murderer with Wish Nikki, and how she keeps snapping off and on again. I believe if Bear would have asked her out and she was on again and off again with Ian, if she was off again with him and slept with him and everything was normal, there wouldn't be any of this erratic Wish Nikki stuff to begin with, because it would be her normal self and what she accepts and doesn't accept. And maybe some of those things would irk Bear or annoy Bear in a different way. But considering he doesn't have the spine to approach her normally, there was going to be some impasse either way. I just thoroughly believe that it wouldn't have went the same way if he had the initiative to ask her out. Maybe some events will still play out. Ian getting jealous, Sarah obviously telling Bear about her acceptance letter and the fact that she's getting accepted into a university and she's happy about that. You know, them still being peachy keen with each other would still probably be the same. But it will certainly be some rearranged events, and I don't think that Bear and Nikki would be in a full relationship. I think, honestly, it would be probably just as on again, off again, if it was just friends with benefits.
It's a love story.
Isn't that the same thing?
You know, you're the only person that I get to really talk to about this stuff.
Ah, yes. Well, see, Bear, when a girl says that, what she really means is, you better not ask me out and ruin this friendship. Anyway, so Bear takes her home and he tries to flirt with her like...
I didn't get that. Maybe she's expressing a level of being comfortable with him? Right? Well, where's the part where he makes it sound like she's being dismissive when, you know, oh, that's not what she wants to friend zone you or whatever right then and there. It's like you don't even know that yet. Like there was no initiation to the point of when she asked, you know, do you like me? He said, you know, he didn't really have an answer for that. Right? Not the one that he wanted, at least, where it's like, yeah, I do like you, and I want to get up in them guts, and I want to be your boyfriend. He didn't say all that. He sort of just said, no, why would you think that? And, you know, her suspicion was curved right there.
Ian said, but I mean, you see the kind of sweaters he wears. You can only imagine what kind of game he has.
Night, Freaky Nikki.
Ew, don't call me that.
I know, I was kidding.
Do you like me?
See, this is again, the seed was planted in her mind from that little method of just playing around, and he didn't say yes. This is what he wanted. He dropped the ball completely. Pretend like you know. Okay, that's funny. I like that.
I think we're good friends.
Oh, so he friend zoned himself. Okay, I remember that part now. Okay. He's an idiot.
What? My dude, she's leaving anyway. This is your chance. She says, do you like me? And then you say, what? Yes, I do. Also, apropos of nothing, I'm going to get a haircut, so don't worry. But alas, he's...
That joke didn't even convey what he thought, even though the joke prior with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire kind of did. What? That part's a little bit confusing to me. The trajectory of this guy and his jokes and how they sort of contradict what's going on from critique to statement is really off, in my opinion.
Says no when she goes into her house.
One wish will Meyers are friends. You only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the
Shrekin.
world.
What the fuck was that? What the Shrekin? What? What was that, dude? I have no idea, man.
Okay, so jokes aside, up until this point, Bear was just a dude with a crush on a girl that he was too scared to talk to. Okay, a story of my life. He pulls out this $7 wishing toy. He's like, golly gee, I sure wish Nikki loved me too. But here's where everything changes, okay?
Maybe you want to come inside? I mean, I did just lose my cat, Bear.
You lost your cat?
Oh, wait. I mean, you lost your cat. I'm so sorry.
So as you can see, Nikki's starting to act a little out of character. She's saying things that don't make sense. She also demands to go over to his house to spend the night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Nikki, why?
My dad's dying.
And you know, to Bear's credit, he's not immediately jumping at the chance to take advantage of her or whatever. Like, he gives her privacy and space. He doesn't want to make it weird. He turns around when she takes her shirt off. And like, based on what people were saying about this movie online, I expected Bear to be this like horribly angry, misogynistic incel dude, right? But like,
Okay, this, I think, is where the big problem comes from the disagreement of this video and Alex Meyers. You don't have to be an outward abusive piece of shit to be a manipulative piece of shit. You can be a piece of shit in quiet and nobody knows but you and that person, and maybe they love you so much that they have, you know, an affinity towards you where they don't say anything, but you could be beating on her every single day. You could be manipulating her every single day. You can be just absolutely nasty every single day, and until that person gets outed, it is not seen anywhere in the public. Now, what Bear's issue is a little bit after this in the dinner scene where Nikki is clearly lying about her dad having cancer. Wish Nikki. And he says, oh, you know, he calls out the lie, says it doesn't mean anything to me, and uses this opportunity to nail Nikki while it seems like she has this face of, you know, it's not pleasure, it's like full on discomfort. He is literally graping her because she has like no consent of the situation. That's what I think Curry Barker tried to portray between human Nikki and Wish Nikki. The wish that he made is completely not up to her will. And as Bear finds this out more and more and more, again, one of the things he says is, how can I stop her from just acting out of control and erratically? Says this, and this is why people say that Bear is the villain. He says this because he wants that control still. He knows what he did, and as the consequences start to mount up more and more and more, and the movie does a good job to portray this and try to give a little bit of sympathy, but once he's all in and says, it doesn't matter to me, that's the turning point. He's willing to do this under some circumstances, as long as it pleases and benefits him, and as long as she loves him no matter what, then he is willing to have her under this wish. And that's, he goes to try to undo this and fix it in some capacity to where it benefits him in the first place.
up until this point, he's just some super socially awkward loser who has a...
You can be socially awkward, you can be quiet, and you can still be a manipulative person, right? The typical tropes that you probably see, you know, the outward incels, the fucking super duper, you know, abusing bad boys of the world. You can still do this shit in quiet. Like, you can do it in quiet, you can do it in secrecy, you can lie, and be a person that lies about it, covers it up, which Bear very well does in the movie. Like, he starts to tell people, but a little bit later, but he tries to move along with it, in a sense, when I think any man's normal brain will realize this is wrong, this is fucked up. I need to do this in a better way. And again, Bear is selfish, 100%, and a lot of this is the onus is a bit on him.
Crush on a girl, and he uses a $7 wishing toy that he assumes is not going to work, and then
Now this, of course, yeah, he probably thought it was harmless. He just snapped it like, I wish he would love me more than anything. But when he started seeing the real effects and consequences again, he tries to cover some of it up. Nikki literally like fucking does a seance to his cat, and he still continues with everything regardless because he's getting what he wants, which is her. Fucks her every night. She's giving him attention. It seems like they even do a montage where everything seems lovely at first. But then you get that scene where she's looking at him a little bit too much, and he's starting to become tired of it when he plants her face a little bit to the left or the right and makes her watch the TV and not him. It's the signs are already there that this is going to lead to a road of destruction with that one piece of context in that scene alone. Fuck me, man. I'm talking about this movie like it's an unsung masterpiece, and it is to me. I really loved Obsessions. So if I start gushing about the movie here while talking about some of these debating points, then don't mind me. It's just me loving Obsession very much.
when Nikki starts acting like this, he's very confused and put off by it.
What were you doing?
I was just going to the bathroom.
Can you lay with me?
I don't know, Nikki.
Obviously, things get different later on, but at least up to this point, Bear has, like, no idea that the wishing willow worked. And again, to his credit, the very next day, he immediately tells Ian that he thinks something's wrong with Nikki. Like he seems genuinely concerned.
Yes, that's true. I agree with that. Where he notices things are going all fucked up. But again, as I said earlier, as the fucked upness and clearly something is really wrong with Nikki continues, he just decides, I'm just gonna go all in and say fuck it. As long as I'm getting what I want, that's all that matters. And it leads to the downfall of Bear, Nikki, the friends, everyone involved because of that whole situation, because of him being constantly neglectful before it's too late. That's the crux of the movie.
Just pretend like we're laugh.
Yeah.
I think Nikki is going through something.
What?
I don't know, dude. She was acting so weird. Like she would
Like what? Is she okay?
No.
Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that this part is showing how Bear's trying to make Nikki seem crazy to other people or whatever, but, like, again, he has no way of knowing that the toy worked. Like, why would he think it did? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was $7. Like, in any other circumstance, you'd probably do the same thing if your friends started acting like this out of nowhere, right? And
Well, it's not common for her to act like any of what she's been acting this entire time. So I guess this is a small scale way of trying to tell a close friend what's going on. That's the entire reason, that's the entire purpose of this. You know, if someone starts acting out of turn, maybe you have a friend that was a childhood friend or whatever, and let's say you guys have a normal routine. As an example, you guys go out drinking, he's cool, he's laid back, never really gets into any fights or anything. But then you go out and it's your 100th time going out, right? And your friend starts acting a little bit differently. He's not drunk, and he goes and he has a bar fight with someone and he almost kills them out of anger, and he continues to act very, very angry all of the time. Even after this little revelation, wouldn't you think that maybe that one time something is wrong and he broke routine and something clearly almost fatal happened to someone else because of his emotions? Yeah, it's weird because it breaks pattern, and that's what Bear is experiencing now. A pattern of Nikki being all cool, and you said it yourself, fraternizing with the guys from earlier and just like having fun and a good time. Now what Bear sees is she's in his bed. She's like asking to come to the bathroom while he's using the bathroom, and there's also that suspect thing of, like you said, he probably didn't think it was going to work to begin with, but it's clearly in effect. She's clearly not acting the same as she was when she was, normal Nikki, and something has changed, and he's telling his friends because he's concerned about what's going on in this moment. He's still selfish, but concerned.
Anyway, so that night, Ian apparently talked to Nikki, and she said that she was on some drugs or whatever, and so maybe that explains why she was acting so erratic, like when she and Bear kissed earlier.
They were trying to play it off. No, I guess maybe you could say from his perspective, it's like, oh, maybe she was a little drunk, but this continued, obviously, to a sober point. So even that's not really believable after quite a bit. And in the scene itself, you can see the creepiness. She does not break eye contact from Bear or Ian the entire time. If you look over the shoulder, Ian, you can clearly see it. Like, this is... Have you ever seen her this obsessed? No. Not until this point.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
You kissed me.
I know, I thought I saw something.
So at this point, Bear thinks that Nikki was acting weird, kissed him, freaked out, etc. because she was on drugs, right? So again, to him, in this moment, it all seems totally above board. But then, out of nowhere, Nikki goes over to Bear's house to apologize.
I was on MDMA, so if I was weird, that's why, and not saying that you took advantage of me.
Nikki, I didn't know you were on drugs.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that.
Not saying what?
You took advantage of me.
I don't think I didn't.
I know, that's why I'm saying you didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird there because even she admits that she kissed him first, and he's like, no, you didn't really take advantage because he was into it. That was the problem, right? This man was into what he was getting. And then you had the real Nikki come out for just a slight second, and then you have the whole backflip off the bed, where I would assume it's like two entities like fighting itself. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. All she knows is her body is being taken over by this force, and she doesn't know why she's kissing this guy. She doesn't realize anything, and then the control of Wish Nikki seeps back in, and she gets back in the bed, and they keep going at it, obviously.
See, this is my point. Like, given the circumstances, Bear's being pretty normal about this, okay? Given what
he's being normal? What the fuck? He literally said that, oh, you didn't take any advantage of me. You were on no drugs. It was fine. As the stories get, like, super discombobulated between the two of them, because let's be honest, it's discombobulated between Wish Nikki and Bear himself, to the point where he just wants it to resume without the weird shit going on. That's the point of, like, a lot of the later scenes.
He does and does not know by this point in the movie, like, he could have slept with her, or he could have taken some kind of advantage of her, but he was rather gentlemanly at the time. I mean, for a guy who has this many Cosby sweaters.
He thinks that there's nothing weird going on. It was harmless at first. Then weird stuff starts happening. Then he tells his friends. Then he goes right back to it. You can see there's a pattern of behavior clearly where instead of breaking that and saying, okay, she's clearly messed up, something is really, really, really wrong, I'm not going to indulge it at all. I'm going to try to get her help or assistance. And nowhere does he do that to a grand scale frequently in the movie. Like, he doesn't try to figure out, oh, okay, maybe I need to take her to the hospital or something like that. Like, he knows he's stuck in this situation, this perpetual situation back and forth because he caused it. And if he told anyone else, then they would probably doubt him, not believe him, think it's some mumbo jumbo bullshit. He figures he's stuck with this in a large degree. And again, in a desperate attempt, he tries to get someone else to snap the One Wish Willow to mitigate the effects of what he did.
Wait.
Again, the thing is, Bear is trying to get out of his situation. He's trying to make this less of his undoing, even if it is his fault, right? Because it still is his fault. He made the wish. He didn't really check in on things. He really didn't take it seriously. He made the wish. He tries to undo it. It doesn't get undone. It gets worse. But that's the thing. The initiator is the one that's ignoring all the red and yellow flags.
Do you think this was on purpose? Like, do you think they dressed him like this intentionally?
I really like
Cosby sweet sweaters, yo, bro. You're wrong for that one, but well, it is true, but still, it's just a joke. Is holy shit.
what we have, and I want to be honest about some things, and it's really important for me.
It's okay.
I know you like me, Bear.
Why do you like me?
Would it freak you out if I said yes?
And thus begins their relationship. They start dating, hanging out, kissing, doing the devil's tango. And Bear's finally living the life he always wanted. Hot dog. Turns out Nikki was in love with him the whole time.
What do you...
No. No. She was not in love with him to this extent the whole time. Otherwise, we would have no movie called Obsession if she was, like, in love with him the whole time without any of the weird shit, right? Without any of the wish Nikki stuff. Right? If they were in a normal, hypothetical, normal committed relationship, but that's not the case. He didn't have the backbone. He made the wish. She came to his place. She started being obsessed with him, dating him. He started to see the freakouts, which is real Nikki coming out in burst and her watching him while she sleeps. No, her watching him while he sleeps. I think on the TV, and at the end of the movie, she starts taping him too, which is also really creepy. Then he tries to get help and plead to people and undo the wish to an extent where she still loves him, but she's not acting all strange and add more to the wish. And that's the red flag of Bear. Him trying to add more to the wish to once again serve his own inner temptations of constantly fucking Nikki, constantly being in a relationship. In this sense, this was a way to continue his behavior because he couldn't live without her, without the wish, right? He couldn't live without it at that rate. Therefore, he wanted this illusionary choice, this fantasy, to constantly continue, and that's not noble behavior. That is depraved. That is controlling. That is taking away the autonomy of Nikki herself. And it's fucked up. No matter how you slice it. Like, that's just the way that the movie paints itself when you interpret it that way. And it's very easy to interpret it in this category.
Want to do? I mean, I've never really asked.
Well, that's not all your fault. Call me a closed book.
Well, I guess the good thing about a closed book
Is that I can return it to the Scholastic Book Fair and exchange it for the new Animorphs book. Maybe this is the one where things finally start making sense. No, it still doesn't. Now, suddenly, Bear gets a phone call from Ian. See, remember when Nikki told Bear that her dad was, like, sick or whatever? And Bear told that to Ian, and apparently Ian looked into this, because as far as Ian knew, Nikki hated her dad and hasn't seen or talked to him in, like, years.
I'm not gonna tell Sarah about this because I don't want to spread drama. I looked into Nikki's dad having cancer, and he's healthy as a baby.
The heck does that mean? My dude, babies just have constant projectile vomit and diarrhea. The heck you talking about? Also, how exactly would you find this out? Like, pretty sure you can't.
It's just a fucking analogy, dude. It's just, and okay, and then he's like, how the hell wait, hold on. Did he say how the hell did he find that out?
You can't just call up a hospital and they tell you someone's medical history. Okay, so is Ian lying about this? Or was Nikki lying to Ian and Sarah about her dad this whole time?
This is where I think you miss the context clues of the movie. If Ian was in an on-again, off-again relationship with Nikki, then he would be aware of Nikki's parents. More than likely, he's probably met them. Maybe there's some off-screen stuff that we don't know about. But whatever the case may be, they are probably aware of him at this point, even if she's not really talking to him. It wouldn't be too hard to be on friendly terms with an ex-girlfriend's like father or mother and call them up and ask them how they are doing. And then if they went to a routine checkup, you could probably manipulate a little bit, ask how are you doing, you've been in the hospital lately, and get that information from a conversation themselves. It's not hard to ask if you're on some sort of personal or emotional level with someone in order to get them to open up to you, because you are either dating their daughter, you are dating their son. That's, some people have good relationships with other people's parents. Therefore, I would give this the benefit of the doubt and say that he called him and he asked how he was doing.
But okay, let's assume it's all true. Bear goes back to talk to Nikki about what he just learned.
Does your dad really have cancer?
Oh, no.
What?
No, 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 don't do that! I thought we were having a nice day!
Okay, see, Bear, I don't know why you're making this face. You wanted the Crystal Mommy Latina experience, and you got the Crystal Mommy Latina experience. But here's where Bear starts to maybe kind of realize what's really going on here.
Bear, I love you so much. I don't think I could live without you.
You love me more than anyone in the world?
Yes, more than anyone.
Now, okay, up to this point, I feel like Bear has plausible deniability. I mean, there's no way he would have known the cheap toy would work. He was genuinely concerned for Nikki the day after it started, and he refused to take advantage of her even when it was, like, presented to him, right? I mean, she kissed him after all, right? Now, right here, though, at the halfway point of the movie, he does finally start to realize that the wish actually worked. But, like, even then, like, literally every rom-com is about trying to find a way to get the other person to like you, or you manufacture a meet cute or whatever, right? Like, I've seen some internet comment threads where it's like, he only saw her as an object and wanted to remove her autonomy. That's why he made that wish. But like
what? This is a fundamental misunderstanding of the movie. Like, literally, he finds out here. Let's give him the benefit. He finds out here that the wish is in effect, and then the question that he sort of asks Nikki after she says, "Oh, I love you so much," is, do you love me more than anyone in the world? He wants it to be the real feelings. Like, he needs that. Again, I don't think he could live without it, which is what the movie is trying to convey in that aspect. Therefore, this is not trying to, backtrack on that, get Nikki to safety, figure out a way to undo the wish completely. He wants her to love him. And after he finds out the story of, her father not having cancer, and she says, who cares? And he's like, it doesn't mean anything to me either. He's immediately fucking her after the scene. He knows something is wrong. He knows something is up. He knows the wish is in effect. She has this erratic outburst, and then he rapes her anyway. Not having any sort of thoughts about her mindset, her safety. The only thing that matters is you love me the most, and I'm going all in on it. So, thinking about the strangeness in this situation, thinking about her well-being, what this outburst entailed, it really didn't mean anything, because the next thing after this was Bear wanting to get his dick wet.
He didn't wish that she would do whatever he wanted, or I wish that she would become obsessed with me and me only. He specifically wished that Nikki would love him more than anyone, which is literally what everyone who has ever had a crush wants. Like, every single fanfic about, like, golly gee, I sure wish One Direction would kidnap me and fall in love with me.
But this doesn't, your issue with this doesn't work if he knows that at this point it's weird and she just had an outburst, right? You don't say, oh, I wish someone would love me in the entire world. And if they start acting weird and erratic, then you're going to be like, what is this? This is not normal. This is not productive for a relationship. something is wrong with her. If I care about her well-being, I'm gonna do anything I can to figure this out sooner than later and reverse it, as opposed to getting his dick wet. What do you not understand about that part? Like, this is where I just fundamentally disagree with what he's saying. Like, there were some points where I was thinking to myself, oh, he told a dumb joke and it's whatever, it's a little cringy, or oh, he says something that's a little bit disagreeable. Then there's a part where it's a little bit agreeable, but no, this is a fundamental misunderstanding at this point.
All at the same time, like as if half the girls who saw this movie haven't wished the exact same thing before. Hello, it is I, Willem Dafoe, from the movie.
Yeah, but okay, you can say what the fuck is William Dafoe from The Lighthouse. But yes, you can say that girls have fantasies, but the second that a man starts stalking some of them or doing any of this behavior, like the reverse effect, imagine if a dude started acting like Nikki. That's grounds for either that dude to get his ass beat or thrown in prison or shot. All right, girls don't want men that are obsessive and possessive and that will go that far to literally bake their cat into a hamburger and feed it to him. I'm pretty sure that's the red flag right there. All right, so you got to separate fantasy from clearly not wanting this person in their lives anymore. And yes, like I said, there is the rare exceptions. There is the people that's under Stockholm syndrome for some of their favorite celebrities and some of their favorite people, and this does happen in real life. But naturally, 9 times out of 10, I'll say 8 times out of 10, most women do not want to be on the reverse end of behavior, just like Nikki. So, you know, they just might want to fuck their pop idol for a bit, and that's it.
The Lighthouse, and I've secretly been in love with you for years. Like,
no, well, I mean, William Dafoe probably. Let me not make no jokes. Let me not make no jokes here.
You have to look at the context, okay? If Bear had gone to the store specifically and been like, hey, do you have something that'll
just imagine Green Goblin fucking trying to put on some Riz, bro. Like, oh my god.
force a girl to fall in love with me, or if you like searched on the internet for some kind of like weird ritual that's gonna make anyone fall in love with you, then yeah, that's some funky stuff, man. Or like later on, we find out that maybe Ian and Nikki have been hooking up, right? But Bear doesn't learn this until the very end of the movie. So like, for example, if he'd found this out at the beginning of the movie, and he was like, oh, so Nikki's just some slut that bangs every guy except me, huh? Well, I'll show you. Then yeah, he'd be like some misogynistic incel. But for at least half of the movie, he has no idea that this would work, and in fact, he's concerned for Nikki when she does change.
That is so much to go off there. Oh my god. It shows that Ian is a shit friend. That's number one. Number two is that even if Ian told him earlier, and I guess it's more of a realistic venue, because sometimes the people who pretend to have your best interests at heart are not really your friends all of the time. So I just think that was a realistic portrayal regardless. Really well done by Curry Barker. But the thing is there, even if Bear found out earlier, I still believe, considering that he wants Nikki so bad more than anything in the world, he would use that as some kind of leverage in order to try to get with her. Oh, are you with her now? Are you on again, off again relationship? If you're not with her, I want to know more information about how I can flirt with her and get with her and make her mine. He would still be selfish regardless. It's just the ties have changed, the situations have changed, more context and information was conveyed. But if Ian was still with Nikki, I don't think Bear would have had any type of self-assurance or confidence to try to get with her. But there would still be that lingering feeling. And again, you never know what could happen. He would probably be waiting for that moment for her to be single again just so he could fuck her. Like, it's just, that's how manipulative weirdos, and when you have this sect of scumbag friends, that's how they do. They will prey on you if you're in a on again, off again relationship, but they like the other person that you are seeing, right? And they're gonna want to try to get a piece of that no matter what. And they're gonna feel like because you betrayed them, they're gonna try to find their own way to manipulate and snake you, and an eye for an eye, right? And try to get with her in some type of capacity. So it just would have made Bear a bit more vindictive towards Ian, but I think he would still try to pursue this goal of telling Nikki or conveying information to her, because maybe this will buck up his confidence a little bit. We don't know. It's just hypotheticals of the movie, but I believe that he still would try and attempt if she was not with him in that situation. You know what I mean? And use leverage in order to say, hey, you know a little bit more about her since you dated her. How can I use some of those tactics that you employed in order to, you know, get with her as well? And I figure the situation would probably go that way.
To me, at least, it totally seems like a fanfic or whatever that he thinks would have no way of actually coming true. I'm not saying Bear is a blameless, innocent victim.
We don't know, because he never really answered that question that she gave in the car about, do you like me? He sort of downplayed it.
Okay, but I think some of you are a little too quick to attach motivation and subtext to this character that is not based on the movie. Like, it really seems like some of you want him to be a horrible, incel, intentionally malicious guy, regardless of what actually happens in the movie.
Again, he finds out that the wish worked, and the first thing that he says is, do you love me more than anything? And your dad not having cancer, you blatantly lied to me about a big situation. Doesn't mean anything to me. If it doesn't mean anything to you, let's have sex. That is, once again, neglecting all of the red flags, and you can be manipulative in silence. You can have your own self gains of what you want out of someone in silence. You can decide to put your needs over someone else emotionally in silence and not really care about what they think, but care more in line of what you think and what you need and what you believe. People are fucking condescending, egotistical, manipulative narcissists. And this can apply to relationships, and this can apply to beings of the night walking variety as well, like, and it could lead to shitty situations and shitty friendships, which is what the movie also conveys. This is a tragedy upon epic proportions. Nikki is a victim, Bear is a manipulator, Ian is a piece of shit liar, Sarah's innocent, but she is someone who gets caught in the crossfire because of this situation between friends where the communication is just completely absent at that point, and she gets her head smashed in with a brick. You see the consequences of everything, and then the wish itself, and trying to undo it and not understanding all the weirdness involved and trying to sort of roll with it and pretend that everything's normal, everything's fine, as long as I get what I want, that's all that matters.
Even the guy who played Bear himself said this about the character. I never thought of Bear as a villain, but what really drew me to this story was the gray morals of it all. Bear has good in him and has bad in him, like all of us. I do think that he leans more toward the bad in a lot of ways.
So he's entitled to his opinion, right? He's entitled to it, but he literally says here that there's bad in Bear, and he leans more towards the bad. There is good qualities in Bear. I'm fully sure that not every protagonist thinks they are the antagonist of their own story, right? But at times you can have those antagonist characteristics, and that table scene afterwards and after the fact, and him just wanting her to love him without being weird, is antagonistic, self-serving values.
Antagonist?
And plus, I mean, look, Michael Johnston or whatever, great actor, convincing actor that convinced you into Bear being in this role where you first start to really feel bad for him, and then there's the downward spiral. That's great. But the director himself said that it was going to be a studio mandate to make Bear more of a protagonist, have more good values to him, and that's what he didn't want in the story. Therefore, if the guy who directed and wrote this story is saying that the studio tried to downplay all of the antagonistic traits, clearly there was some bad going on, right? And that's what matters the most. And that's the vision that the guy wanted to stick to, and he got his vision. Bear is seen as bad.
I don't think I would.
And he even says it right here. Sure, his desires were incredibly selfish. Even he is saying the same thing that I'm saying.
Say fully, because the key thing is he didn't know that the wish was going to work. Sure, his desires were incredibly selfish, totally, 100%, but he didn't know the wish was going to work. And you have to assume that this guy was
He didn't know the wish was going to work, and then he found out that it worked, and he decides to take Nikki anyway to the bedroom, okay? And, oh, you love me more than anything. That, once again, made his emotional clarity feel good. Because that's what he wanted the entire time, and he was still getting that under this crazy situation of her having an outburst saying, no, don't do that. I thought we were having a nice date. And lying about her father having cancer. Again, as I said, ignoring the red flags.
close talks with the writer director of the movie the whole time. So basically both of them are saying that Bear is meant to be ambiguous, and you all are just over here like, nyah. Like, are you all equal?
I wouldn't say ambiguous if they literally also said he has more bad qualities than good ones. What are you not reading in that statement? What the hell?
Really upset about the Disney Channel original movie Zapped or 16 Wishes? Because fundamentally, these are all the same movie. Like, remember Descendants 1, Mal cast a spell that made Ben fall in love with her? Where's all the Reddit threads about that? I don't see no 2-hour video essays. You know, I made a video years.
Damn, do those movies end with, like, friends getting their heads bricked in and fucking getting their brains blown out over wishes? I don't know. You tell me. I don't think they're all fundamentally the same in every situation. You know, with these Wish movies, right? If anything, a lot of Wish movies that I've seen, even Kazam, right? I'm gonna bring up Kazam as an example. Even that tells you when there is this sort of malevolent power, right? That someone can think they're on top of the world with all these wishes, and their life can still go poorly. Like, the little boy at the end of Kazam, like, doesn't he die at one point until Kazam wishes him back? But that situation probably never would have happened if he didn't open the genie in the bottle. Like, come on, people. Like, usually in the context of a wish-based situation, you get to the point where you start to realize when the wishes go negative and the person may not be able to have the emotional integrity to control it, or maybe their own selfish greed starts to get in the way, and you have situations like this.
Ago about the show WandaVision, and everyone got so mad at me when I said it's crazy that we're supposed to be so understanding about how Wanda enslaves an entire town and uses magic to force her husband to stay with her and have kids with her. Huh, isn't that interesting? I found this comment in.
What was that comparison? Enslaving the town. Enslaving that was wrong, you know? Because you're, again, you made a joke about this, but you're taking away the autonomy of people by this point to have your own vision of having your sons still there and Vision still there and everything intact, to create this illusion. This is why Doctor Strange even called it out. He called it out in Multiverse of Madness. Like, what the fuck? And Wanda's behavior due to the Darkhold gets progressively worse as she gets more negative, to the point where she goes to Camartage and slaughters everyone there. Innocent sorcerers just holding their ground, dead in the span of a second. It had long-lasting consequences. What are we talking about?
in a Reddit thread that puts it so perfectly, so I'm just gonna read part of it. But remember, this sub attracts the most obsessed fans of the movie. They flex about watching it at the theater like 10 times already. They make several posts a day about it. They make crazy over-analysis and theories that have no ground in the reality of the film, etc. It's not just a movie for them. They're incredibly emotionally invested and attached to an unhealthy degree. It's almost cultish at this point. And people who are chronically online or addicted to a piece of media aren't the most emotionally stable or media literate to begin with. So a lot of it comes from an emotional standpoint, hence the refusal to engage with the material in good faith and just making it say what they want the movie to say in an over-the-top, sanctimonious, dogmatic way. It's like a ritual for them, a catharsis. See also Encanto. But
Okay, what you decide to do is take a Reddit post of someone that is trying to broad brush an entire community of people. Now, is there to say that there isn't folks who are over analytical of this movie? You can say they exist on a spectrum. But to take that and try to broad brush when you yourself are misinterpreting the movie and it seems like you're being condescending to those people with this description, as opposed to being like someone who says, hey, you know, everyone has their own analysis on this piece of media, but the way you're trying to paint these people and just belittle and downplay them is a little bit like, I don't like it. I don't like this segment at all. Because everyone's not like this, and this just leads to over generalizing without respecting the idea of other people's analysis. Like, there's just some points where I don't think you're wrong for having these interpretations of the movie, but I do think that you're misinterpreting a lot of it, and a lot of these jokes aren't landing, and a lot of this latter half of the video is just not put together well, which is a symptom of truth because you deleted the video. Like, we can talk about perspectives all we want, but the perspective here is that I had to get this video off of another site. I had to get it off of Preserve Tube in order to see it because you deleted the video. So let's continue.
anyway, so the movie goes on. Nikki gets more and more insane. She walks around like this. She cooks up his dead cat and feeds it to him. She waits for him to come home so long that she pees herself. And what we come to find out is that the real Nikki is trapped inside of this demon Nikki. And every so often she gets to come out for just like a brief second. Which is why Nikki seems to be acting the way she does. It's like the more the real Nikki tries to break free, the more the demon has to overcorrect. Once Bear realizes that this happened because of the wish, he finds a phone number on the back of the box and he calls it to try and get his wish changed.
Is her love real?
Just because you chose this for her doesn't...
Look at that answer. Is her love real? That's all I want to know. I don't give a fuck about her well-being. As long as she loves me, that's all that matters.
make it less real.
Okay, then I would like to cancel.
We don't really do that.
What?
I love how chill the wizards are in this movie. Like, this dude's like, yeah, so your girlfriend's soul is, like, trapped here or whatever. Anyway, I gotta go reheat my nachos, bro. Glaucoma or something.
Do you want to talk to her? You want to talk to her?
Who is that?
Nikki?
Now, just to be clear, I'm not defending all of Bear's actions, okay? Because at this point in the movie,
I'm not defending all of Bear's actions, but he sure isn't manipulative, because he doesn't do it, you know, fully out loud, or latter parts of the movie where he neglects well-being to say, oh, does she love me, and that's it. That's all I really need. I need this wish altered on a spectrum of make her love me but not be too weird about it and go around and stab and kill people. Oh, no. Bro, you have been defending Bear a lot in this review, like, of this film. It doesn't make any sense at all to me why you're making this point if you're being so adamant to believe that you're speculation, analysis, perspective is the one that is the right one for this film when there's many. And I'm not saying that you can't have this thought process, but I definitely disagree with a bulk of it in the later half.
He knows the wish worked, and he knows the real Nikki's soul is like trapped or whatever, but he keeps on dating her and tries to like continue on as if this isn't the most horrible situation anyone could imagine. Although,
and you don't see the problem with him continuing on this path to try to make it work for him? Hello?
to be fair, what is he supposed to do? Because if he breaks up with her, she's gonna hunt him down. And the only other choice, as we learn, is that the spell will break if he dies.
What the hell? What can I do then?
When you die, the wish will go away.
There was the other alternative where you can make someone else have the wish in a different way, right? Because he tried that with Ian, but Ian didn't care. He was over at that point. He's like, I wish for $1 billion. Right. If he has someone more responsible, maybe have Sarah make the alternate wish or see something in her, make sure you drive out of the city because you're probably going to get killed by a brick. Or get in some safe location where this thing could be initiated, then maybe he would have had a chance to reverse it with a more responsible individual. But clearly he picked the only one that he knew that meant something to him, who stabbed him in the back, and that was Ian. And bro, Jesus Christ, dude.
Sure, there's nothing.
Again, Nikki would have definitely hunted his ass down. But there could have been a better choice than using fucking Ian to make the wish, dude.
What else I can do?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you live, sounds to me like you have a moral obligation to be there for her.
Another option appears when the real Nikki is able to speak very briefly while the demon Nikki is asleep.
You are you, Nikki.
Please don't wake her up. Just kill me.
Now, this is another part I've seen so many posts about that I find so baffling. Like, I've literally seen people say, like, if Bear truly loved Nikki, he would have killed her when she asked. Cause, like, it's just that easy, And then what? He goes to prison for life? Obviously, he doesn't want to do that. Also, it's well established in this.
It's just another alternate choice. Kill her, which is the wish of human Nikki at this point, because she doesn't want to be taken over by this autonomy anymore. Or kill yourself, because if you die, she is released from the wish. Or get someone else to try to make an alternate wish to your wish and mitigate some of the damage. With those three options, you don't really have a lot of choices left. I'm sorry. It's just the hand you're dealt. As I said, there's only two options. Two of them are very, very brutal. It's going to end with death. And the other option is the path of least resistance, where you can get someone to reverse the wish of some kind. If you really care, why not just hurry up and get someone to wish that Nikki would be normal? No love attached to it, just she's back to her normal self and everything's fine and gravy. Bear didn't even do that. It's like, how can you love me, but how can you love me without being weird? And that's it. All because he didn't muster the gauchos, the balls, the brass to ask this woman out herself and have everything play out normally.
Also, it's well established in this movie that he's like a low self-esteem, probably depressed loser guy. So, like, of course, he's not going to suddenly do this completely out of character thing. Now, that being said, his reaction to...
Why were you then saying that everyone's lumping Bear into an incel piece of shit in this category, and then you try to defend him? And then this point that we lead to gets very hilarious.
To this is very telling, though.
What would be so bad? What's so bad about being with me?
Okay.
Have you finally noticed that Bear is being super selfish? Right? But you spent this whole time broad brushing people and putting them into a box of being a stan and saying that, oh, they're nothing but these terminally online teenagers that make this analysis and assessment every day about this movie to the point where it's overblown. Yet you finally understand why Bear is selfish at this point. your brain ticked on for this after 19 minutes. How is it that you didn't get this from Jump Street? That's my question. That's my pondering. That's my sort of thought process. How did you not get that his intentions were for himself? And you finally get this is like the second or third time he said this shit.
Fair. See, I was trying to be fair, okay? And then you go and you say that, like maybe everyone's right about you, you know? And this is further.
And you admit those people were right after being slightly condescending and labeling them this entire time. Okay. Now you are agreeing with them. That's funny, dude.
Solidified when he knows it's not the real Nikki, and he knows the real Nikki is trapped, but he still keeps going on like this.
I believe it was the real Nikki, which is why, you know, it was probably weird to him when she said, "Please kill me." He already knows there's like strangeness going on at this point. There's no need for him to be defended.
Anything you want me to
No,
be.
don't say that.
Anything you want me to be. I'll be. Let me be Nikki.
You're not being like.
But this also brings up another interesting thematic element of the movie, I guess, which is like people are saying, you know, if he truly loved Nikki, then he would do this incredibly selfless thing for her. But remember, his wish was not that Nikki would become obsessed with him. He wished that she would love him. So why isn't her love for him as selfless as you're claiming that his love for her should be? You know what
I think that's going back to, and this is a fair point. And this is going back to how the wish worked, and maybe the people behind the counter, the wish masters, really weren't too clear on these entire ideals. But again, like I said, obsession is about the exaggeration of people's human emotions to a negative level and a negative degree, and Bear's behavior does not get any better when he finds out this revelation. It almost seems like he wants to undo it, have his girlfriend, which is Nikki, and again, not have her act out of turn because that's not what he wants. You know, the whole taping of the door, he's starting to understand, hey, this wish, this little thing that I play with is getting out of hand and is too much for him. But again, this is what makes Bear flawed. He might have tendencies to try to be cool with his friends, but he also wants something after being a loser this whole time, after being fucking this person that didn't score with the girl after all this time, and now he finally has something to himself. He doesn't want to lose it.
saying? Again, I'm not saying Nikki's the bad guy or Bear is some like blameless victim or whatever. I'm just saying there's many ways you could look at this movie. Like maybe the wish to.
That's true, you can look at the movie in many ways, but you chose to look at it in a way where someone was ostracizing everyone else. So, and then you started to defend Bear quite a bit, and then when he asked the same bullshit question of "Do you love me?" 3 or 4 or something times, it started to really annoy you at that rate. Because it goes against what you try to defend him for, which is being somewhat innocent in this situation. And he's not fully innocent at all. Which is why, I don't know why you took the quote of Michael Johnston to where he said, Bear has more negative qualities than good. And this is because of that insecurity.
Work at all. Maybe Bear's just that cool. You ever thought of that? But anyway, so the very end of the movie, Nikki has killed Sarah and Ian. Bear realizes that there's no way out of this unless he dies. So he eats all the rest of his grandma's Flintstone vitamins, I assume, and dies in the arms of Nikki, who is finally freed from the spell. And that's more or less the end of the movie.
I think, once again, he did that because there was no way out at that point. Friends are dead, bodies everywhere. How do you explain this to the police? So, versus not explaining this to the police, with Sarah dead and naked in the living room, and Ian has a bullet in his head. Bear decided to smooth up Wish Nikki, go in the bathroom, take a load of those cat pills. Wish Nikki makes a wish of Bear loving her forever, and then these cat pills ain't really working out for his heart. Or the grandma pills, rather. Did I say the cat pills? Well, it killed the cat as well, so I guess that's like a double whammy, almost. And Bear dies, and Nikki breaks out of the spell. Not before she was almost about to blow her brains out, but still a dark, tragic movie. Let's see how he interprets the ending.
Yeah, so whatever your personal interpretation of the movie is, it really is a fantastic film. It's a great horror, great writing, the acting is incredible. Nikki, obviously.
All of that I agree with. I have no problem with. I feel like that's fine for someone to say this movie is fantastic, which I can't wait to talk about myself in deeper detail with my own words.
Fantastic job. But like with a lot of other movies and shows,
why are we comparing this shit to fucking Hopper, Digital Circus, and Heated Rivalry?
especially recently, the online discourse is just insane. Like, what is it about this movie in particular that people made it their entire personalities? Like, there's something very funny.
Usually art warrants discussion and debate all of the time. It's really nothing new. You could look for it in any sort of high tier film in the 90s, in the 100s almost. Like anything that's up on that level is going to be heavily contested.
To me about how this movie about the dangers of unchecked obsession,
especially anything with a complex story as well, that's going to be heavily contested. Something that challenges you, challenges your views, challenges your worldview. That's part of the course. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be both sidesing. There's going to be perspective. That's natural.
Has gone on to spawn one of the most insanely obsessed fan bases I've ever seen. Congrats, y'all, nailed it. Now again, I need to be very clear here, okay? Ultimately, Bear is the bad guy. He doesn't know what he—
Oh, after all that defending, you admit that he's bad, despite having a little bit of backtracking there, buddy, okay.
He did until late in the movie, but when he figures it out, he just keeps on rationalizing to himself because, like, he wants Nikki, and he doesn't see—
That's the point. That is literally the point, and you ignored it for so long until the end of the video.
Seem to really care that she's being tortured the whole time, but rather he wants the demon to just act like Nikki so that he can—
That's the fucking point. He's self-aware. He's self-aware. That's the point, though.
Pretend that he's actually dating Nikki, you know? Like, this is a bad dude. Yes, absolutely. Nikki is completely innocent. Her life is forever ruined because of some depressed, selfish loser guy, okay? Yes, like that's the outcome of the movie. But how we get to that point, I think, is a lot more nuanced than a lot of you were giving the movie credit for.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's nuanced in the fact that, hey, you can't be an incel manipulative loser unless you're loud and obnoxious and you let everything be known, right? Again, you're trying to say that, oh yeah, Bear's a good guy. All of this stuff was before and during the fact that he didn't know the consequences of the wish, but after that, after you've seen him say this shit like 3 or 4 more times, it should have snapped that, yes, this is not good behavior and this is the reason why, and I will give X, Y, and Z reasoning for why Bear is not being rational in this moment versus being condescending to people on Reddit and on YouTube and the discourse and the discussion centered around this movie. This video could have been more nuanced, and maybe it wouldn't have been received so poorly that it was deleted off your channel. Just a thought. Just some food for thought. Just something to rack your brain over a little bit next time you make an analysis video, that it could have honestly been better. Like, some of the jokes weren't really landing. That didn't really bother me. A little bit of them were cringe. You had some points that I kind of agree with, and other points where I definitely disagree with in the latter half of the video. But as always, everything is a learning experience. I hope you learn from this experience and make better videos in the process. You have the potential, good editing, good, cool points here or there, but it's just drowned out by a lot of really just one-sided bias. to one character in this movie because you may have sympathized with him a little bit too much. Anyway, I am Renegade Operative. I am signing out of this video. This is my criticism sucks on Alex Meyers' take on Obsession. It wasn't really, I thought it was going to be a little bit more extreme than this. I did, but it's still not a good video at all. I feel like he severely misinterpreted this film because of his love for Bear, and it really showed in the later part of the video. But until then, tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you think of Obsession so far, and I will get back to you at my earliest convenience. Also, his self-realization is very, very slow. I'm talking like snail's pace. Not to the point where the snail beats the fucking tortoise in the hair, but it's just really, really slow, and it didn't click on until like way, 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 way late. And I think if he just let in with that and got the point of the movie, that's probably why people are so frustrated not getting the point of the movie, then this wouldn't have been so bad. But yeah, I gotta chalk this off to seeing why it was something that was contentious to begin with. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourselves.